you because so we're here on what's now the sixth. No, it's now the sixth interview here for the One Life Presenter Online Summit. And what's cool is that there is so much experience, so much expertise, and just a wealth of talent on the lineup this year. And I've gotten a chance to work with Alexandra because she's done some work and is on the One Life staff and kind of worked on the inside. But I know she has a totally different, almost, I don't want to say life, but a totally different career and kind of mission outside of it. And she's been helping people in lots of different ways. And so I know you were out there speaking in Bali at an event. And I have to say that I don't know that we've talked quite about what it is that you're doing and what it is that you do. So I'd love for you to catch us up and share kind of your journey and how it is that you got to empowering people and kind of helping them find themselves through your work.
For sure, and thank you. Yes, I feel like sometimes I'm a jack of all trades because I get to do so many different things, and I love working with One Life, and I've met Tim quite a few years back, so I know a lot of people in and out, speakers and the team members, so it's been amazing having this collaboration. But for the past few months, I would say the past half a year, I've started building a different branch into my own work. And in my title, I talk about empowerment. For me, it's all about supporting others to achieve whatever goal they want to achieve to live the life they want. And if you look on the website where we have the presenters for October, you have like a little blurb about my talk. And in a sense, we all come into this world with a life force, through a life force. Without that, we wouldn't exist. So for me, that has been the most important piece that supported me through healing, through the journey that I've had, because I've been married, divorced, I lived in Canada, I lived in Malaysia for 3 years, and now I've been a digital nomad, and I'm constantly traveling and working online. So I'm putting most of the work out there towards empowering others and showcasing there is another way to lead your life. And I love the elements from One Life because vision, relationships, wellness, finances, all these things affect the life we lead. But all these things come when we have that space within ourselves that empower us to pursue what our goals or dreams or visions or wellness or desires are. So in my work, outside of consultants or like anything else that I do business-wise, I support people, and I'm finalizing a coaching certification now towards achieving relationships and the relationships you want to have with those around you by integrating the most important relationship, which is with yourself. Because I've had so many experiences in my life and so many ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I will be there to support myself forward, to interact with others, to build relationships, to network, to take care of my health, my mental health, to explore the world. And if I'm not in that state where I can show myself I can move forward, then 100 people can come and tell me I can move forward and I should have all this grand vision of life and I should pursue health and finances will help me. But if I don't truly put the work or the efforts in, it won't really lead anywhere. And that has been proven to me over and over again through my own experiences and through the work I do with other people. So I do various coaching sessions and one-on-one work, and we can focus from anything from the sexual experience, the sexual empowerment, sexual energy, to your empowerment of your mindset and the shift into your mindset and behavior and beliefs that support your lifestyle that you want to have.
Well, I'd love for you to share and a little bit about what you're going to be talking about at One Life, but I think I'd like to frame it in the sense of you brought up the work and you talk about doing the work. So for you, what is the work? What does that look like to you? And what are some of the maybe steps or actions or tactics that people can do to actually improve these things?
For sure. I don't know how many of you checked out the information that Hector put out there or One Life put out there, but I'm Romanian. I grew up and I was born in Romania, and I lived there for 20 years. I got to move out of Romania when I was 21, close to 22. So that part, I always feel like that part of my life is such a complete different life, because ever since I left Romania and I moved, my life unfolded in such a different way. But there were elements prior to me leaving Romania that I believe I've already had within myself, like curiosity. Like I was always very curious by nature to learn more, to know more. And I've had this feeling and thought that there has to be more out there for me to experience and for the world to have. I couldn't just be every day going to school or going to work and coming home, or coming from an Eastern European culture, just do your work as a woman, behave, don't talk bad, don't talk back, don't dress in a certain way, find a husband, get married, have kids, go to church. And to me, it felt very limiting. So yes, I did get married early, but I believe that every experience I've had is what put me on this path. So a lot of the work for me comes from the personal development space. And the first book I read was by Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. I'll always recommend that book because it was like a switch that helped me realize there's someone bigger, brighter, more amazing inside of me, not outside of me. So that got me into my inner journey. And I started observing, what thoughts do I have around everything in my life? Relationships, my self-confidence, the world around me, because our mind is so powerful. We already know and see this online and outside. Placebo effect, it's incredible the stories we hear. People with cancer, they cure themselves by this action. Our thoughts and mind are so powerful. So the work that you brought up and that I mentioned is my own work with myself, not allowing my thoughts, especially the negative thoughts, impact me. Because I could have been a girl who was living in a village in Romania that you wouldn't even have any clue where it is if I tell you. And probably there are like a handful of people there. And meanwhile, now I travel the world. I spoke at TEDx in Malaysia. I spoke in Germany. I spoke in so many different places. I wouldn't even imagined like 20 years ago, this girl from a village in Romania will achieve all these things. But by working with my thoughts, working with my mind, I journal a lot. That's an extremely important tool to me, because by the time I started journaling and writing my thoughts down, I recognized, well, that thought is not supporting me or helping me in any way. It's doubting myself. So I have to go down to the source of like, where was I taught and learned to doubt myself? What caused this behavior or pattern in my life? So you have to be willing to take this journey with yourself. And a lot of times it's not that easy that we go down and admit we are the ones holding ourselves back. That's the most important person in our life that can stop us. And we hear quotes all the time. I mean, I've been in the personal development space for over 10 years now, my own experience and even working in that space. And you can hear all the amazing, beautiful quotes and gifts, and everyone tells you, you got this, go forward. But sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know if I got this. I don't know if I can. So for me, it's always about reminding myself and surrounding myself with the tribe, with the community, with the people who reflect back what I believe to be true, which is, you got this, you can do this. If you need time to heal, if you need support, if you need a shoulder to cry on, you'll have that support system. But if you do not do your own inner work, the support system will never be able to fulfill you. Like, take a relationship, for example. we expect a partner nowadays to be so many things for us: a lover, a best friend, a father, husband, our support system, our caretaker, our confidant. Like, we put so much pressure on one person. And at times we even expect them to read our mind and thoughts, and we get upset because they don't love us, they don't understand us, but we don't express our desires or our needs or our boundaries. And something very tricky, we don't admit that our emotional state, it's ours alone. You could say a million things to me, and I choose how I respond to you. It's my perception and my reaction to you interacting with me. You could say all kinds of words that may sound negative, but if I choose to receive and think, what's going on with Hector today? Maybe I should ask him if he needs help with something, or if he has something he's going through. Like, we can always do that extra step to understand the other person. But if we're not in that mind frame with ourselves, how do you think we'll respond? Like, I talk with so many people in relationships, or trying to build a relationship, or even at work, and they're like, oh, how do you deal with people who are rude and mean to you? Well, first, are they truly rude or mean to you, or are they struggling with something within? So now you become the object of their action and like taking it out, because we're human. Even with all the personal development I do, I have moments where I'm more snappy and I'm thinking, oh, but this person in front of me did nothing for that reaction to be worded. But it was my way of just releasing something. I learned how to apologize, how to say I'm sorry. Coming from the culture I come from, it was first time I remember I had to apologize for something I felt like it wasn't quite my fault, but I still should apologize. Oh my gosh, it was such a difficult thing to do, because I was taught that you do not show weakness, you do not give in, like, you're strong and powerful. And at the end of the day, you hurt yourself and your relationships. So a lot of tools we use in the personal development space and the coaching space, like journaling, as I mentioned, to put your thoughts down, and I flip them now into affirmations. And I don't jot just like negative thoughts down, I flip them into positive, even if it's not there. For example, you can always write down, I am healthy, fit, energized, even if you don't feel like that day, but you kind of train yourself to go into that space. And then you're like, ooh, what can I do to feel like that? And now your brain is going to look for the solution to put you in that state. The same with finances. A lot of the times we're focused on the lack and on the aspect of not having enough. But how do we create something more if we do not see something more? So I always flip it back on an affirmation. I affirm what I want to live and experience every day to myself. So the states, instead of constantly going up and down emotionally, I can have a more streamlined state where I'm like, okay, the reality I'm facing with right now, I'm stuck in an airport for 10 hours. I can get angry about it. I can get upset. I can yell at people, or I can open my laptop, do some work, catch up with some friends, and wait for the next plane that I can get on. So now my emotions and my state is different. My relationship with people, my interaction with people is different. I received so many things, like just by the fact that I get to have different states and I get to ask people, how are you doing today? And oh, you're doing such a great job, even in a situation that is not great. And I've received upgrades in planes. I received the front, like a whole row free in planes, because I travel so much. And it's like the most unexpected thing that happens when you are able to recognize your states and work with that.
You talked about it a lot. That was great. Ray, who is tuning in, said that he got a lot of value out of that. But I'm curious about how growth comes into play with a partner, or with, one of the things that I've seen in some marriages, couples, relationships, is one person outgrowing another or growing in a different way, or they're not aligned in their growth. So what has worked for you, or what have you seen work in terms of bringing couples together through that growth?
That's an amazing question. And especially as I've been deep diving into this whole relationship aspect. And like you've mentioned, as human beings or individuals, sometimes we tend to take different paths, or we don't, it's not like we're stuck in a box. We may have an interest and a passion at this moment in time, and then we outgrow it or we shift. When we look at two people coming together in a relationship, we look at two people with different thoughts, different behavior, different education, different culture at times, with different patterns in their life, and with their own baggage and their own emotional state. Because we all have it. Even if you've had a beautiful upbringing and your parents were helpful and you've had this development as a child, you still have encountered situations in your life that were not the most positive, because that's the beauty of being a human being. So when we put two people together, now we expect them to function perfectly on all levels, and that's not realistic. The most realistic approach that I've experienced and I've seen is to know that there will be spaces in our life and in our relationship that will not necessarily match. But we look at the major elements. Let's take the values that you have in life. What are the most important values for you in life? For me, it's family, it's love, relationships, travel, because I love the freedom of movement. I also love the freedom of my own choices and my independence. Like, I remember people used to tell me how to dress or question why I'm dressed in a certain way or who I talk and can I talk to. I did not like that limitation. I did not like that boxing. I felt like I want to run for the hills in the opposite way. So those are things I value a lot. Now, if I'm pairing up with someone who these elements or these categories are completely on the opposite spectrum, which they don't value at all, how likely is it that we will work long term? Not truthfully. We could work for a while, like desire and passion and attraction can pull people together. But we have to have that element of like, where are we in our values and in our life? Because I believe in relationships, we do have to compromise. There will come times when we have to compromise. But what are we compromising? How to move forward and work together? Or are we compromising our major value, and now we're letting go of things that really matter to us? Because that's where the break and disconnect happens. And even in my previous relationship when I was married, by the time I was getting a divorce, I couldn't recognize myself. I felt like I gave up things that matter so much to me and they were so important to me, where now I went against myself. And I wasn't only upset or hurt with my ex-partner, I was upset with myself. How could I allow myself to go in this space? And it took me a few years to bring myself back. So when it comes to people growing in different directions, we need to see how major this growth is, because you may like painting and I may like dancing, and you do not ever want to dance and I do not ever want to paint, but that doesn't mean our relationship won't last or work, because we still have our core values together. You can pursue your path and I can pursue my path in this space, and we need to be okay and honest with the fact that in a relationship we don't need to spend 24 hours together. We should encourage our partner to have their own alone time, their own development time, to have their own space, to know who they are, what matters to them and what's important to them, and vice versa, them doing the same for you. But now if you're at the space where someone grows in the completely opposite direction of the most major values, you need to have a sit down with each other and see, is this long-term relationship material? Are we willing to put the work and to put the time and effort to build something together? Or we see ourselves in a completely different space? Like I've heard so many couples, and I talk to so many women where they don't feel supported by their husband. And sometimes they may even feel like their partner drags them down. And now all their decisions and everything that they visualized for their life is without a partner. So you're removing yourself from that relationship, even if you're still there, but mentally, emotionally, you disconnect. So we have to come to that truth space again when we started. What's true to you? What's really, really true to you? And not compromise on values, because you'll end up resenting yourself and then you'll resent the person for getting into that space.
Yeah. This has been very eye-opening and very insightful. I'm sure that it revolves around similar content, but I'd love for you to share what people can expect or maybe get out of your presentation at the One Life conference and kind of out of your time there. What are some of the things that you're going to cover?
Yeah, so for me, the empowerment aspect and looking at achieving success, it's not just one dimension of success, or because my title is Empower Your Way to Success. To me, is being successful in your own terms and on your own definition, and being successful is a holistic experience, not just being successful in your work or in your relationship, as a whole, because that will create that life that you want. So a lot of the space that I work from is, as I mentioned, is my own space, like going from within. And I look at the energy that we show up in the world with, and the life force, because at the end of the day, life force is what powers us. It's that space within us that can push us forward, or if we don't work with it and we ignore it, it kind of keeps us stagnant. So in October, I mean, there's going to be so many amazing speakers that I'm excited about. But for me, the focus would be to showcase people that your circumstance don't dictate your future, don't dictate the outcome of your success. And you are the one in control, or in, because I wouldn't even use control, because I believe in life there's so very few things you can control, but you're the one at the wheel. And you're the one who chooses how to move through life. I've had divorce, car accident, um, relationships that failed, work that didn't go the way I wanted. I could have let all those things drag me down. I could have let all those things impact me and be the prove you that, okay, well, you're not meant to do this, or you're not supposed to do this. But I took those things as lessons. And I used my own energy, my own thoughts, my own beliefs to hack myself, to recognize I am strong, I am successful, and I have my own way of moving through life. You and I could be successful in completely different ways. It doesn't make us wrong or right. It just makes us living our life for ourselves. So in October, that's what I want to cover. I want to show people that coming from a village in Romania 30 some years ago and where I am now. So circumstances and all that life throws at you is not determined of where you could go and where you could be.
That's fantastic. And kudos to you for making that journey. I know that's not something that's not easy. I know that for sure. Guys, I would encourage you, Alexandra, will this be your first One Life event?
Yes, you will be.
That's great as well too, because I think so many people, when they come to One Life conferences, they're just a unique. There's lots of personal development and growth conferences out there, but this one is a unique group of people, and I think that today's live streams and interviews were definitely a testament to that. Alexandra, where's the best place online to catch up with you and stay connected before October?
Everyone can go to my website. It's alexandramiu.com. I have a way of being contacted there. My social media is there. My YouTube, as I posted a bunch of videos lately, and I created a series where I talk about various elements from our energy to our mindset and our language. Our language is very important, also the way we express ourselves, about ourselves. So alexandramiu.com is probably your easiest place to find everything about me.
Awesome. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Guys, I would encourage you to go get registered for the conference if you are not already signed up, so you can come hang out with me, Janice. Who else was on today? We had Carolyn, Rhonda, and of course, Alexandra. So we have 3 more interviews tomorrow and another couple on Thursday. So it is fitting to be a good finish to the end of the summit. But anything, Alexandra, that wasn't said that you want to share before we get out of here today?
I mean, there's so many things when we dive into this area, and like I mentioned, I'm so excited for One Life and all the things that come out of the events and the community, because you guys, you don't just look at one aspect of life, or you just cover a blend and a harmony. For me, harmony is so important in our life. So I love everything that One Life is putting out there, and I'm excited to be there, to support it, to meet everyone else. And anyone, if they have any other questions, they can definitely reach out. I mean, I could talk forever because this is my passion and I'm really excited about it, and we can go in various directions with personal development, relationships, intimacy, and the way we show up in the world. But I guess to wrap it up, the message would be, know that your adversity and the hard days are going to go away. They're not there forever. And you can speed that up, that process of like overcoming that adversity, by recognizing that simple thought. Sometimes I may have days when I'm not feeling well, and I know this shall pass too. And it does. And then the sun comes up, right? Like the rainbow after a storm or a rain. So just know that within yourself, there's already so much more to be untapped or pushed out there. Just believe it, and then you'll see bit by bit, you bring it up to the light.
Dream it, plan it, live it. There you go.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Go get registered, onelifefullylive.org/conference, and you can come out and hang out with Alexandra, me, and the rest of the presenters as well.
Amazing. Well, thank